If you look at your smartphone today, there is a high probability that Samsung had a hand in creating it. Whether it is the screen, the memory, or the device itself, the South Korean giant is everywhere. But if you had walked into the original Samsung store in 1938, you would not have found high-end electronics. You would have found dried fish, local vegetables, and noodles. The transition from a small-town grocery trader to a global tech powerhouse is one of the most radical pivots in business history. Lee Byung-chul started Samsung Sangho with just 40 employees, exporting local goods to China. However, to understand Samsung, you have to understand the chaebol system. In South Korea, chaebols are massive family-run conglomerates that received government support to drive national industry after the war. Samsung did not just pick one lane, they built the entire highway. They moved into sugar refining, textiles, insurance, and even shipbuilding. By the time they entered the electronics market in the late 1960s, they were not just a company, they were the backbone of the Korean economy. Yet, for decades, they had a reputation problem. In the West, a Samsung product was often seen as a cheap, low-quality alternative to prestigious Japanese brands like Sony. That changed in 1993, when Chairman Lee Kun-hee visited a retail store in Los Angeles and saw Samsung televisions gathering dust in a corner while Sony sets flew off the shelves. He realized that if the company did not pivot to high-end quality, it would eventually collapse. He famously told his executives to change everything except their wives and children. The most dramatic moment of this cultural shift happened in 1995 at a Samsung plant in Gumi. After a batch of new mobile phones was found to be defective, Lee did not just issue a standard recall. He gathered 2,000 employees and piled 150,000 devices, worth about $50 million, into a massive heap. Then, he set them on fire. As the employees watched the flames and then crushed the remains with bulldozers, the message was clear. Quality was no longer a goal. It was a requirement. Samsung would rather burn its inventory than sell a second-rate product. This obsession with excellence led to a unique business model that defines the tech world today. Samsung is the ultimate component king. You might think of Apple as their fiercest rival, and in the smartphone market, they are. But behind the scenes, they are also partners. For years, Samsung has been a primary supplier for the very components that make iPhones possible, including high-end OLED displays and flash memory. This creates a win-win scenario. Whether a consumer buys a Galaxy or an iPhone, Samsung profits. They have successfully positioned themselves as the essential infrastructure of the entire mobile industry. This is made possible by vertical integration. Unlike many competitors who outsource their manufacturing to third parties, Samsung makes almost everything themselves. By controlling the factories that produce the screens, the batteries, and the processors, they can innovate faster and keep costs lower. They are not just assembling parts, they are inventing the parts. This gives them a level of control over the global supply chain that no other tech company can match. From dried fish to the world's most advanced semiconductors, Samsung's story is a testament to the power of radical reinvention. They prove that a company is not defined by what it currently sells, but by its ability to adapt and demand excellence. It is a lesson in long-term vision, the kind of vision that can turn a grocery store into a global empire. But even the most dominant brands can lose their way when they forget what their customers truly value. Next time, we explore the legendary disaster of New Coke and how the biggest failure in marketing history became a brand's greatest blessing.